Hi Capricorn, welcome to your November 2018 general tarot reading. It's Rena here. If you're interested in a love reading, I already have one for November on my channel, so check it out. I also have an astrology reading for November on my channel. This is the Wild Unknown Tarot deck, in case you were wondering. Ew. I like this deck. It has pen and ink drawings, and most of them are pretty black and white, but there's some pops of color, but some of them are quite colorful. But it's just very nice. And kind of pretty unique from, I get good feelings from these cards, let me just put it that way. The overall theme is the Temperance card, which connects to the sign of Sagittarius. So if there's somebody in your life, whether it is a love interest, a current partner, a child, that's a Sagittarian, a friend, that could be featured. And the Temperance card is a card that connects with the idea of the material and the spiritual. Because I think of the, let me see if I can find it. I'm thinking of that particular depiction, I think here. Oh boy, I didn't have to wait long. This is from my Morgan Greer deck. And the angel has 1 foot in the water and 1 foot on land. You know, it kind of reminds you a little bit of the star card. And that water represents the spirit, purification, and the land represents the earth plane or the material world. And yet it's both. It's not one over the other. So you are an earth sign. You're a human being having a spiritual experience. And so both of these areas may be highlighted for you in the month of November. And it's interesting because we have the 2 sun signs of Scorpio and then Sagittarius. And Sagittarius is, like I said, connected to this card. So maybe this is a timing card of like when the sun goes into Sagittarius, that is when a lot of things are going to happen for you. That's also a possibility, since Sagittarius is a time, you know, the sun goes there. Oh yeah, and then I forgot, even Jupiter in Sagittarius. That could be another thing. And that's kind of a big astrological event in November. The heart of the matter is the Father of Swords, which is the King of Swords. And so in this particular case, this is even, I should have said too with the Temperance card, is that it can deal with issues involving addiction, I feel, because I always think of the Temperance Union, of having to deal with somebody who may be out of balance in that way. Because even the card that is challenging is the Empress. And I could see, this is a card that's connected to Venus. And Venus is a goddess of love and beauty, but Venus represents pleasure. And when that's out of balance, we can have a card like this. So overindulgence and having to deal with that in your life. Now, I'm not saying this is you. A lot of Capricorn people are very disciplined, and indulgence is the last thing that you would engage in. So this might be somebody that you care for that is out of balance in that area. And basically what the Father of Swords is connected to the King of Swords. And that would mean that you may have had to cut somebody out of your life because of this. And the reason I say that is the King of Swords is totally like trying to be logical and not allowing any emotion to seep in and possibly change your decision. But it's almost like overdoing it because you're afraid that you might actually weaken and give in, because this may be somebody you care about. Now, the King of Swords too can be someone who is a boss, and that person may have created a scenario that we could associate with the Temperance card in some way. And I don't know exactly how that would relate to you, but perhaps, this person may not be such a bad boss after all. They may be somebody who doesn't play favorites and may live in their head, but is not a bad person. And you may feel that this person kind of anchors the workplace. But the Empress card, in the midst of all of this, in this challenging position, I just got this for the exact same position, for another reading, it can suggest someone who is using femininity in a very kind of negative way. And I was talking about, it's really using sexuality, because the Empress is a card of sensuality, okay? So that might be the person that the Temperance card represents. There might be somebody who's acting out. And maybe you feel like you're in this situation that you might not even care anymore about this person. Even if this is your significant other. You may have had so many problems with this person that you don't have really feelings for them anymore. And yet you feel a sense of duty. Maybe you share a child together. So it's kind of interesting, because even though the Temperance can relate to balance, with this being the focal card, that is what is needed. So sometimes that's not happening. And you could be dealing with a person who's out of control. And maybe it's somebody who wants to feel attractive. Oh yeah, we have Venus still retrograde. So that might be a Venus retrograde issue. Possibly what could happen too is that a Sagittarius person that you've known comes back into your life. I didn't even think about the Venus retrograde angle. That's funny. So the higher message is the Five of Swords, and this is a card of dishonesty, especially of the verbal variety. So somebody who is lying. And the reason this is important as a spiritual message is that you may be believing these lies, and you believe them because you want to see the best in this person. You may love this person. And yet, as a spiritual message, it's telling you that by believing something that you know is really not true, you're prolonging the inevitable, and you're also you could say you're enabling that person to continue doing what they're doing. Obviously, everyone's choices are their responsibility, but we have to decide whether or not we're going to tolerate other people's bad behavior, right? And the Five of Swords is slander. Is somebody, so an example would be, let's say you have a partner who's cheating on you, and the Empress in the reversed position could suggest that. Now, the reason that they might be cheating on you is because of their low self-esteem. Venus connects to the sign, and Venus can connect to one's self-worth, and it is in disarray. So maybe they don't feel attractive anymore, and they're trying to prove it, or some other issue has come about that has made them seeking various people's opinion. They need to feel that sense of like other people wanting them in order to get that rush. And then they lie and say, yeah, I'm married, but this person is abusive when you're not, and things like that. And that could be going on behind your back. And so somebody could be poisoning the well. The advice is the Mother of Pentacles, which is the Queen of Pentacles. This is a very kind of a domestic card, a nesting card. You can see that the mother has her child with her. So it's really about if you are in a situation where your family is being destroyed because of your spouse's bad behavior, that you protect your children, that you protect your home. In other words, you don't neglect anything that is of value to you and people that are of value to you, because you're feeling that this other person's destroying the family. You double down and you spend even more time with your children, and don't get sucked into somebody else's drama. Keep going. And the Queen of Pentacles is also a card of, I think, getting in touch with nature too, and finding solace there, not just with other people, but with plants and animals, and just exercising, just taking hikes in the woods or by on a path by the lake or an ocean, and trying to find peace, or your grounding. This is a card, Earth. Pentacles is Earth, and it's about grounding, and not. But the Mother, it's interesting that in this deck they use Mother instead of Queen, because it's really to try to emphasize the feminine and your feminine sign. So you do have that part of you that is an introverted sign. And I don't mean shy, I mean that you kind of go within in order to feel that sense of balance, rather than, seeking it and socializing necessarily. And so, what's coming in is represented by the Seven of Pentacles. This is a very interesting depiction, because you see the pentacles almost like a stairway ascending. That kind of reminds me of a Capricorn person's mentality of always wanting to climb the ladder of success. And this is a card of assessing your investment in something. And your investment may be in terms of, I don't know, a relationship, how much you've put into it. And thinking, what have I gotten back? And I'm not talking about tit for tat. I'm just saying, have I been the one that has really waited and waited unnecessarily? And is it really something that I want to invest in this situation? Is it getting me anywhere? In the other decks that I've seen, we have the the farmer with his looking for his harvest, and this is what that Seven of Pentacles relates to. So, you know, going back to this idea of with the Temperance card, if this is something to do with a work situation, you may be trying to assess whether or not your job is really something that, you know, has that, bringing you that sense of payoff in some way, or relationship bringing you that payoff. And you do have to be patient in whatever it is that you start. You can't expect instant gratification. But on the other hand, if you have tried to be patient and it seems like it never gets better, then that's a different story, isn't it? The outcome is the Tower card. And this is kind of like, I mean, when I think of that initial card of the Temperance, we have that sense of stability. Well, the Tower is what happens when things become unstable. And that's when the pressure builds. And eventually something has to give. And revelations are, they come out. But there's a sense of liberation from the Tower. Because you may have, like, it's like with this is coming after that Seven of Pentacles. And it's like that waiting period. And my feeling is, because the number 7 is a number that's kind of solitude and waiting. I mean, the Pentacles I associate with waiting because it's that earth energy and the patience. But eventually, you may even have a sudden decision to leave. You may just have enough of someone and feel like you just can't do it anymore. But what I feel like, this is kind of like one of the more complicated readings that I have done, because I don't see like the central theme. I see, like, you know, because to me, Temperance, if this is talking about an individual, this may be you being on an even keel, and maybe part of the reason you are on an even keel is because you have, maybe you've had to become sober and have to embrace sobriety. Maybe you were the one out of control. The reason I said I didn't believe is because I feel like a lot of Capricorns are too disciplined to get into that. But, you know, that can happen to anyone. And perhaps you realize that someone around you has been lying to you. And that's why I feel like it's not you. I feel like with the Empress, this is the same person who the Five of Swords represents. That's what my feeling is. And as I said, I don't think that you are necessarily in love with this person. You may have been patient with them, but it might just be a case where you just kind of decide it's over with, and maybe they tell one lie too many. I don't know. Okay, that's what I have for you, Capricorn. I hope at least some of that makes sense. If you'd like a personal reading, please click on the link below. I hope you have a wonderful November. Bye.